Hi everyone, this is our group presentation in Independent Applied Research in Management, Group 105. Now I am going to introduce in our group members. My name is Ronak Kumar Ramani. My student ID number is a 230285440, and my other three members for his name is Akhlaq Ahmad, Janvi Sodnagar, and Pauni Paila. Now is our case study in I have researched in our case studies like influencers the modern face of marketing. Now I am introduced in our introduction. Yeah, so this slides is like influencers marketing in this age of social media, streamline effort of organizations to reach consumers to achieve campaign goals. Social media influencers or celebrities uses their face value and promote products and service of a brand to reach fans and for flowers to ensure engagement. However, often mislead target audience with blur line between promotional and organic content, which will be evaluated in this presentation. Now I am go to the next slides. Yeah, in this slide, survey shows that 90% of consumers trust recommendations from peers, whereas 71% of consumers prefer purchasing products based on influencer recommendations. However, compared to traditional media, 50% of users granted content is a more trustable by users of interest in this digital age. And the influencers in this modern business offers of seemingly trustworthy and relatable voice and make their recommendations using word to mouth carry more weight than traditional form of marketing. Survey shows that 40% and 43% of consumers prefer fashion influencers who are authentic and relatable respectively over other traits. Now I am go to the next slides. Yeah, this slides is approaches for the topic examination. Even if there are several benefits associated with influencer marketing in these digital business settings, but comes with certain issues like with false image. Influencers promote products with while using tools for editing photos and also don't disclose them, and content that is not labeled properly may blend seamlessly with organic post can mislead consumer about the true nature. And I'm going to the next slides. Yeah, this one is evidence of research data. Influencers must aware about legal obligations in terms of misleading content to avoid any kinds of penalties or reputational damage. Companies that are hiring influencers must also ensure complying with legal framework. Otherwise, negative consequences can lead to negative results in marketing practice. As shown, influencers in digital marketing can driven sales, raise awareness, and support digital growth. Now I am go to the next slides. Yeah, this one is evidence of research data. In this case study of influencers marketing, line between manipulations and transparency becomes blur, particularly when target audience are unaware that content is paid advertised by the celebrities and influencers. Maintaining trust and loyalty among consumers is one of the key considerations for the transparent marketing without manipulations is necessary. And the next person is slides. The next slides is present to next person, which my friend is like Akhlaq Ahmad.
Hi, my name is Ehlak Ahmed. So I'll be presenting application of theoretical model. So this study applies Bounty's ethical decision-making models to evaluate how ethical choices are made in influencer marketing, particularly regarding truthfulness and accountability. Uh, the model guides marketers to assess the potential harm of promotional messages and encourages a transparent, responsible communication. Um, And in addition, stakeholder theory is used to highlight the interdependent relationship between influencers, brands, and customers. It emphasized the need to balance interests fairly and ethically across all the parties. Moving forward, application of framework uh, a, like a brand while going for influencers marketing must comply with regulation and guidelines for by FTC that protect customers from unfair or defective practices in the marketplace. Such agencies also make sure a brand with influencers avoid misleading claims must comply with disclosure requirements. Moving forward, data collection of data. So in this presentation, qualitative secondary data is used. The data are collected from different case studies, from real worlds as well. So focusing on case study based approach to explore the role of influencers in the modern marketing. Data source include academic literature, regulatory reports, influencers, market case studies, and industry publication. The strategy to ensure data suitably involves selecting credible, recent, and peer-reviewed sources that directly address the ethical and legal dimension of influencer marketer. Moving forward, application of analytical tools and approaches. To justify the objectives, thematics analysis is selected in this presentation. Uh, so, thematic analysis was used as the primary techniques for data analysis, allowing the identification of recurring patterns and key themes related to misrepresentation, legal responsibilities, and legal regulations. Special attention was given to material discuss how companies leverage influencers to promote products while potentially avoid direct accountability for misleading claims. Regulatory framework were reviewed to assess whether existing law adequate address this issue, highlighting the blurred line of responsibility and the need for stricter oversight in influencer-driven promotion. Moving forward, the biggest picture theme on ethical boundaries in influencer marketing. It has been found that 70% of customer bothered by lack of transparency, whereas 20% of customers stopped allowing influencer if they didn't disclose promotion. Thus, adequate training and source to influencers are necessary to help them maintaining legal and ethical aspects while participating in promotion. So that's it from my side. Now my next team member will present from the next slide.
Hello, my name is Chanvi Sondagar, and my student ID is 2302906. And I am explaining the theme 2, which is even if influencers marketing business is growing across countries, still relationship between influencers and brand has gone unforced and unregulated in recent years. Because of businesses must understand indirect and directly liability while working with influencers, whereas influencers must also review and understand regulation that brands deals to ensure agreements, which is comply with current regulation and law to avoid consequences. And this next slide is theme 3, which is considering this above mentioned regulations, influencers while promoting products or a brand must clearly disclose either promotion is paid or not, to ensure ethical practice. And when we using phrases like ad, sponsored, paid partnership in a visible and clearly manners. That's in addition, influencers follow these regulations must disclose material connection with the companies in which is including paid sponsorship to avoid misleading consumers and customers. The next slide is uh, which is the example of the misleading customers. One of the example is the brand Lord and Taylor faced allegations of misleading customers. And for that, the organization agreed to settle complaints to FTC, alleging about paid promotion for clothing advertisement. On the other side, Fire Festival was another example of misleading consumers about advertisement. Here, firstly, implement strict regulation and penalties that hold both influencers and companies legally accountable for false or misleading promotions. There is a second option, which is develop mandatory transparency tools on social media platform to automatically flag paid content and ensure disclose compliance. The third one is encourage co-regulation through brand influencer contracts, where ethical guidelines and liability cause are clearly defined. All options aim to restore consumers' trust, create fair accountability, and reduce exploitation of legal in digital advertisement landscapes. And the next slide is considering growing issue the relation to misleading consumers from the end of a brand and influencers. Stickers regulations should be imposed that penalize brand for using influencers to regulation of advertisement or marketing campaign. In addition, regulation should be there to hold brands accountable for lack of disclosure made by influencers. Now over to my friend Pawnee.
Thank you, Janvi. Now I'm here to discuss about the remaining slides. I'm going to discuss about the selected option. Countries across the globe are implementing rules and regulations to control issues like misleading information, unethical and unfair marketing practices, disclosing paid or unpaid marketing from the end of the influencers, and brand can ensure transparent marketing practice across domestic and global market environment. Coming to the next slide. Short-term direction. A balanced approach can be effective to protect consumers from misleading and upload ethical standards without innovative nature and organic growth of such marketing practice in order to prevent misleading when with great consistency in regulations and treating influencers like traditional advertisers can be effective. Um, Move to next slide. long-term direction. With increasing social media and interest users, influencers play a role to connect with consumers and helps a brand to increase awareness and enhance sales. However, it need to keep in mind that due to improper control and regulations, companies and influencers are misleading information without the considering safety of consumers. I'll move to the next slide. Now I'm going to conclude the topic. Firstly, introducing joint liability laws would ensure that both brands or influencers are equally accountable for misleading promotions, closing current legal loopholes. Secondly, AI-based tools on platforms like Instagram and TikTok and automatically detect and close undisclosed sponsorships, improving transparency and enforcement efficiency. Lastly, education and training for influencers and marketing professionals and unethical advertising standards would help reduce untraditional branches. Now going to next slide. Recommendations. Even if there are regulations, but many of instant occurring associated with misleading or undisclosed promotions are getting unnoticed or unpublished or undetected due to the loophole and getting chances of blaming influencers. Campaigns are misleading. Companies are misleading campaigns without following regulations in a proper way. Going to the next slide. Uncertainty and issues. Due to the constant making of marketing, constant influencers, regulatory bodies face challenges of effective enforcement on all these contents. Companies using influencers to mislead companies after escape from by blaming influencers. Brands also have legal expertise and resource of marketing regardless of who delivers them. Coming to the next slide. Now here references. These all references used for our presentation. Thank you so much.